And now, from Candlestick Point in San Francisco, California, it's the Stick 49er Podcast Show with your hosts, Lucas McLaughlin and Lucas Ortiz. This is a Lucas and Lucas production. This podcast is brought to you in part by Super Tenna. Get yours today. This is an unofficial 49ers podcast and is in no way directly affiliated with the San Francisco 49ers team nor the National Football League.
Well, Niner fans, at least you got something to smile about. What a difference it makes to beat a good team at home. Niners beating the Rams 24-16 in a great team effort. The record goes to 3-3 and the Rams drop to 4-2. Aaron who? Two-time Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald. Who? Best player currently in the NFL, finishes with 2 solo tackles and no sacks. And we like that. Shanahan threw on his lucky hat. Let's get into it. I'm joined by Lucas Ortiz now. Man, I bet you could sleep at night now is what I'm thinking.
Man, that win felt good, didn't it?
Oh, it's so nice. Just, we've got to get into this because there was some issues, but man, it's just the opening drive alone was so fun to watch. Reminded me so much of the way they played last year. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, what a difference a week makes. It looked like our offense couldn't do anything the last couple of weeks against the Dolphins and the Eagles, and this week they came out, they pounded the rock, gave it to Raheem, gave it to Deebo, enforced their will right from the get-go, and just took it to them. I mean, it was just a really amazing, outstanding, tough, I'm trying to think of some more words, resilient effort from the offensive line and the rest of the team.
Definitely.
I'm really proud of these guys. They really showed what they're made of.
Yeah.
This last week against the Rams. And it was in prime time.
When Donald's coming at you and you've got a good Rams defense, to go a little different where they're doing short little passes, quick passes. I loved watching Jimmy G was on fire that opening drive especially, but he had a great game. I just really liked seeing him throw the ball, these little short passes, and then they take off. Deebo had the best game, this year for sure for him. Man, it was just, if you could take a deep breath finally. The Niners are back, and hopefully we can continue this.
You can tell that the team definitely took those 2 losses to heart. They came in angry. They came up fired up. I'm sure they had a really good week of practice and cleaning things up, working on their technique and how to win those one-on-one matchups. And the game plan was outstanding. I mean, Shanahan probably coached his best game as a 49er. I thought the way that he got Jimmy's confidence up right from the get-go, short passes, high percentage passes. Some of them weren't even passes. They were just little flip tosses to Deebo or Ayuk that go in the book as a pass. But, really it's just an extension of the run game. I thought it was outstanding. It was really the best way you can attack this Rams defense.
For sure. And Jimmy G finishes with 268 yards passing, 226 of those yards run after the catch, which obviously we'd like to see him go downfield a little more. But I think, sometimes you just play within the game plan. And obviously Kyle Shanahan knew exactly what he was doing when he dialed up these short little passes and kept the Rams defense on their heels the entire game and basically took the best player, Aaron Donald, completely out of that. I thought maybe he was injured or something. If you look at the stat sheet at halftime, he was not on it.
Yeah. Well, you remember our keys to victory last week, or what we said the 49ers had to do if they were going to even, stay in this game. Is like we had to get back to running the ball. We had to run the ball 35, 40 times, and that's exactly what we did.
Definitely.
They ran the ball 37 times. A lot of the little short pass plays, if you want to tack those onto the 37 runs, it's probably closer to like 45 runs. So they came out with the right game plan. They executed it. Not a lot of mistakes, maybe, a couple drops here and there that could have extended drives on third down. But all in all, a really, really just outstanding effort by the team. And I got to hand it to Kyle. He stepped up his game plan, and Jimmy did a really good job of executing that game plan that Kyle gave him over the week.
Definitely.
And the offensive line was
so good.
Was so much better, night and day better than they were the last couple of weeks. Night and day better than they've been all year so far.
You could tell they were definitely communicating, just like you've told us every week about, how it has to happen. You could tell that they were not going to go out and have another failure, another game where they're getting Jimmy G killed. And you could tell that they were just on their game. Everybody was locked in. And how about that 4th and 2? Man, I love that play call. Garoppolo to Kittle and the little run after the catch on that one too. But man, what a play call on that one. Did you see that coming?
No, I didn't see that coming. And it's interesting to find out after the game that I think it was a 3rd and 5 prior to that 4th down play where they ran the ball. And most teams, 3rd and 5, 99 out of 100 times they're gonna run some type of pass play or trick play in order to get that first down, especially when you're around midfield. But the 49ers, they ran a running play knowing that they were in a position on the field where they can go for it on 4th down. So it was almost a 2-play setup. And after they got about 2 or 3 yards on that 3rd down, it was a 4th and 2. Perfect time to execute. I think they had 5 receivers go out for passes, and the Rams got caught in a 0 blitz, which means they sent pretty much everybody with no safety backup, and it was just a perfect play. It was a great anticipatory throw by Jimmy. I think George wasn't even open yet when he let the ball go, and he got hit as he threw it. So it was a
beautiful pass.
Yeah, it was a tough stay in the pocket, knowing that you're going to get hit toss. Threw it exactly where it needed to be thrown in front of George so he could use his momentum and use that little bit of openness that he had in order to get past the defender that was on him, and he took it to the house. Housed it.
Definitely.
I mean, do we expect anything less from George? Absolutely not. Right?
Absolutely not.
He's the king of yak right now. When that guy gets the ball, one man cannot bring him down.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
And we'll get down in the trenches in a bit here. But first, I do have a couple of concerns that we can discuss. The second half, you notice that first of all, Mostert got hurt. That doesn't help. But the Niners offense fell flat. They had 4 punts in a row, and that can make your defense tired. You don't want back-to-back 3-and-outs like that. And that was a little concerning because obviously, the Rams made some adjustments at halftime. But the third quarter, they had McKinnon running, and it seemed like he just didn't have that spark. And then obviously when Hasty came in, he had that spark that we needed without Mostert in there. It's almost like he climbed up the depth chart just in that fourth quarter. McKinnon, he's a good player. He's definitely not as fast as he once was, but hopefully these guys can play together and continue because we're going to need some extra help now that it looks like Mostert's going to IR.
So Mostert was having a pretty good game in the first half, and you could see noticeably that he just has that extra gear. He can get through holes and spot holes when it's to the naked eye, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot there.
Yeah.
And when he went down and McKinnon became the primary back, he just wasn't hitting the hole the same way that Mostert was. And the offense suffered for it. We had a couple, like you said, a couple 3-and-outs, some drop passes on third downs. I think Bourne had a drop pass that easily could have been a first down conversion, and Kittle even dropped a pass on a third down pass that, although it was a pretty difficult catch, it's one that we've seen him made over and over. So he'll kick himself and he'll take responsibility for dropping it, but we can't put that on Jimmy. Jimmy for the most part was accurate, except for pass. I remember to Juszczyk that was about 5 feet over his head on a wide open throw or a wide open play. And I think there was one or two other plays where he airmailed it over Kittle and another player. So Jimmy was pretty accurate over the course of the game. But in that third quarter, it just seemed like everything stopped. McKinnon wasn't getting a lot of yards. He looked a little slow. He looked a little old. Definitely not the Jerick McKinnon that was known for his speed prior to his ACL injury. And then the Niners are smart. They're like, let's give this kid Hasty a shot. He's an undrafted free agent, rookie, and he came in and he looked like the veteran. He looked like the guy that was, the starter from the get-go. He was hitting the hole hard, running tough. The moment wasn't too big for him. It looked like he was confident in what he was doing, the cuts that he was making. I think he got about 37 yards on 9 or 10 carries, something like that. So pretty good average, about 4 yards a carry. If you carry the ball for 4 yards a carry, it's going to be first down after first down. So like what I saw from Hasty, and hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of him this upcoming week.
For sure. And obviously, you would like to score some more points in that third quarter and put the Rams away so that you don't have to worry about them coming back on you, which they basically did. They had a couple of the defensive pass interference call, and then they had a couple of runs get all the way down to the Niners' 2-yard line. And then a beautiful play happened. Jason Verrett, what a pick, man. I heard he gets a steak dinner for that one.
Yep. Yeah, the Rams were taking it to us in that third quarter, and they drove it all the way down. It seemed like every handoff to Henderson would go for about 8 or 10 yards. And I'm just thinking, like, all right, these guys are, they made some adjustments at halftime, and they're really starting to take it to us. And I was getting worried. I think everybody was getting a little worried that the defense was getting hammered the way they were. There were some bad penalties, offsides on Kinlaw. I think offsides on another defender, and they extended those drives to the point where the Rams were right there on the 1-yard line, about ready to score. Fortunately, they passed it on third down to Kupp. Cooper Kupp had a drop that helped us out, and then on fourth down, Jason Verrett. It's interesting. He's actually covering a different wide receiver. He sees the ball in the air, he peels off that wide receiver, and makes an amazing play to intercept it in the back of the end zone. I mean, essentially bailing out Ward. Looked like Ward got beat.
That's that steak dinner.
Yeah, he was exactly the steak dinner. His comment after the game. So, Jimmy Ward was bailed out by Verrett, and that was just a ball hawk of a play. The wherewithal to get his feet in, make the catch, and get that touchback instead of just a fourth down turnover on downs was big, because they don't convert on that. He doesn't get the wide receiver. He doesn't get the interception.
Exactly.
The Niners get the ball on the 1-yard line, and that's a huge difference. I mean, we could easily go 3 and out and punt it to them, and next thing you know, they're already in scoring position. So getting that touchback, getting the interception in the back of the end zone was huge.
Yeah, and it couldn't have happened to a better guy. I mean, Verrett has been through so many injuries, and to battle all the way back and have a Pro Bowl caliber game like he did against the Rams, huge game. He played great, and that pick wiped out LA's chance to get more points and shifted the momentum back the Niners' way. And they really needed that at that point, because, the offense was kind of sputtering out. So, man, it was just a perfect timing. And can't say enough about Fred Warner. Man, every game this year, he is just puts his heart and soul into every play. The guy is just phenomenal, man. Fred Warner, I like to just watch him play during the game. If I was at the stadium, I would just get the binoculars and watch Fred Warner, because, like if you were trying to teach people how to play football, you would give them binoculars and say, watch that guy play. just phenomenal player, having an unbelievable year.
Absolutely. Fred's been playing at an MVP level all year. Every game he's making some sideline to sideline play, just dissecting a run or a catch through instincts. And he's a guy that definitely, you can tell, does a lot of film work. He knows what teams are trying to do. He knows their routes. He knows their run plays. He anticipates and sees things that a lot of linebackers don't see fast.
Yeah.
He's just, he's quick on his feet, but he's even quicker on his mind. So he's been doing that all year. I really think you got to put his name at consideration for defensive MVP right now, along with Aaron Donald. Even though Aaron Donald didn't shine this game, he was coming into the 49er game leading the league in sacks, but he didn't do any of that this game. So right now you got to put Fred at the top of that list.
Definitely. Now the Niners, as you mentioned, the offensive line was phenomenal, which brings us to our next segment, Down in the Trenches with Lucas Ortiz.
Down in the trenches with Lucas Ortiz. Down in the trenches.
All right, man, we got to give it to these guys. We got to give them all the respect that they deserve after this game. We murdered them for their play last week and the week before, but they redeemed themselves.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
You can really see that they cleaned up a lot of their technique issues. I saw that Trent Williams was back to his mauling ways, just putting guys on their back. McGlinchey had a really nice game. I don't think he gave up a sack or a pressure. The guy that we were probably, looking to replace the most was Brunskill, and Brunskill just had the game of his life. I mean, he was up against Aaron Donald most of the game. I think they were trying to pick on him, knowing that he was the weakest link, so to speak, on the offensive line, and he handled them. I mean, he really had his way, and we'll talk about him later more in detail, but the whole offensive line had a really, really good get-back game. The only thing that sucks is finding out today that Ben Garland unfortunately sprained his ankle, and it looks like he's going to be gone for about 3 or 4 weeks. So it's going to be up to Ronis Grasu to step up and take that center role. I think he started the first week of the season at the center position while Garland was still recovering from a previous injury, and he's going to have to step back into that role again. And hopefully the offensive line can get a repeat of the play that we saw against the Rams.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. Right when they hit on all cylinders, now guys are getting hurt. I think, didn't Trent Williams also have some sort of an ankle issue? Hopefully he's all right.
He left the game with an apparent head injury. I saw
that's right, yeah.
Yeah, he actually pancaked a guy, and while on the ground, another defender got knocked over and his knee hit him in the helmet.
Yeah.
So he was taken off the field. They put him in that tent. I guess he passed all the concussion protocols and whatnot because he did return to the game. But yesterday we heard the injury report, and he was listed as having some type of ankle or calf injury. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we won't see too many more injuries on the offensive line or the rest of the team. But I just want to reiterate one more time. I mean, these guys, we crucified them. And I love the way that they came out and enforced their will, dominated the best defensive tackle in the game, Aaron Donald, to the point where you wouldn't even hear his name unless the broadcasters were saying, I was like, hey, is Aaron Donald even playing? Or, where's Aaron Donald? Where's Aaron Donald line up? Because, I mean, we just didn't hear too much out of him. I think he only had 1 tackle and an assist, which if you can do that to Aaron Donald when you play the Rams, you're going to be successful against them. These guys definitely won the game this week, and we owe them a debt of gratitude and an apology and a bottle of scotch.
Down in the trenches with Lucas Ortiz. Down in the trenches.
Mostert was averaging like 7 yards a carry, looking great, and now he's hurt. So Kinnan and Hasty came in. I thought Hasty did a great job, as I said. And now I think Jeff Wilson Jr. is probably going to be back soon.
Looks like he'll be back.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they held him off. They held him out because of a calf strain, but I do believe that he's going to be back this week. Just depends on, what the severity of that calf is. It was a grade 1, grade 2, or something even worse. But my gut tells me also that he's gonna be back this week. We're gonna need him. We're gonna need all 3 running backs. Yeah, against the Patriots. Whoop! You hear that? It's that sound. I hear that sound. It must be Pat's time. Pat's picks.
It's time for Pat's picks again. We tip our glasses to the great Pat Summerall.
And now, from the bar in the big sky, yours truly here, Pat Summerall. I'm here to give you predictions every week here on the Lucas and Lucas, The Stick podcast. Well, I was drinking during the beer or two. I meant to say movie. Well, I know it's your favorite movie, B2, but that's the last time you're gonna make me watch it. Well, I told you why. It's a terrible analogy for life. Why? Because somebody should tell Forrest Gump that on the back of the box of chocolates it tells you exactly what you're gonna get. What's that, C2? Oh no. We're on now. I don't know why all of the clocks are slow here. Lloyd, I'll have that Boilermaker now, please.
And a Guinness for V3. Welcome to another edition of Pat's Picks. I have not fared well this season. Looking to turn that around. Oh, wow. Drinks already. Speedy service, Lloyd. Thank you very much. Cheers, B3. Klein saucer at the 5. Thank you, Lloyd. That did the trick. On with the picks. For my first pick this week, the Detroit Lions are at the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons just won their first game of the season. Both defenses have given up more than 28 points per game. Look for a shootout between Matthew Stafford and Matt Ryan, but the Lions will prevail. Final score, the Lions 35, the Falcons 28. For my second pick this week, the Dallas Cowboys are at the Washington football team. That's a strange name. Washington continues to struggle on offense and only scores 15.3 points per game. Look for the Cowboys to win this one. Final score, the Cowboys 38, the Redskins 21. And for my final pick, the San Francisco 49ers travel to New England. The Patriots are in trouble, and they're catching the 49ers at the wrong time, if you ask me, after a season-changing win against the Rams. Look for the Niners to prevail, and Coach Shanahan to wear his new Shanahan. The final score on that one, the San Francisco 49ers 24, the New England Patriots 21. And so that ends another edition of Pat's Picks. I'm hoping that I do better this week. This is Pat Summerall, and I'll see you next week. Back to you, Lucas and Lucas. Tell Lloyd we want another round, G4. You're such a pain. I will not watch that movie again.
Oh, man. I love that we have a Hall of Fame broadcaster who's giving us these predictions, man. It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome. Pat's the man. He definitely knows his shit.
He's got to keep his drinks to a minimum, but yeah. All right, man, let's get back into this. I know Sherman keeps getting setbacks, which is too bad, but you know, these guys in the secondary definitely put their 2 cents in this week, and that's good to see that we're able to get it done without him there, because he's like having a coach on the field.
Absolutely, and you know, it's nice having Mosley back. Him and Verrett are actually played a really good game. I mean, Mosley got beat on a deep pass late in the game, but up until then, they were both handling the receivers of the Rams. Like, they weren't doing a whole lot of intermediate passes or deep passes at all. Everything was short. There was a lot of runs. And when they did try to throw those passes, they were getting knocked down. I think Mosley had 3 pass defenses. Verrett had a couple. Overall, the team, I think, had like 11 pass defenses. So they were really good in that aspect. And, you know, for now, I think we're not going to miss Sherman if we have those 2 guys going. In fact, when Sherman comes back, it's going to be really difficult to decide which cornerback opposite him is going to sit the bench. Who's going to be the starter and who's going to be the guy coming off the bench.
That was going to be my next question, actually, just thinking about that. If Sherman comes back, who do you go with? Verrett has been on fire, and then you've got Mosley, who he's solid, and he's always solid. Now, that's a tough decision. I'm glad I don't have to make that one.
Really tough. And it probably depends on how healthy Sherman is. If he's 80, 90% healthy, maybe you stick with Mosley and Verrett just until Sherman can get to 100% again. If he's back 100% full, then I would probably go with Verrett. He's played a little bit better. He's been healthy for most of the season.
Yeah.
He's missed less games than the other 2 cornerbacks. And you got to remember, this guy was a first-round draft pick who made the Pro Bowl. So he's done it before.
Yeah.
I just got to give the nod to him the way he's playing right now. And I think PFF has him rated as the highest rated cornerback in pass defense right now. So
wow,
it'd be really hard to put that talent on the bench.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's a lot easier than it was last week, but we need to pick an overachiever.
Overachiever.
Well, buddy, this week's overachiever is a lot easier than last week's. My overachiever this week goes to Daniel Brunskill.
Nice.
I mean, I mean, how can you not give it to this guy? He was in the American Football Alliance 2 years ago. Barely makes the team last year. Gets thrown into the starting lineup when McGlinchey got hurt and had to play right tackle and played his ass off. Wound up being actually one of the better offensive linemen on the team last year, in my opinion. And then this year comes in, makes the team as the starting right guard, and up to this point hasn't really played all that well. Like we kind of criticized his play and looked at the first 4 games as kind of being a failure to this point. And I said last week, I was like, let's put in Colton McKivitz. Let's see how he does at right guard. But Daniel Brunskill shut us up. And we owe him another apology. We owe a lot of guys apologies on this team, but Daniel Brunskill is probably the biggest one. He handled Aaron Donald. I look at football as a series of one-on-one fights. And if you look at Daniel Brunskill versus Aaron Donald in a boxing match, you got to say Daniel Brunskill knocked him out. I mean, he took his belt, he took his dignity. Donald, to me, gave up at the end of the game. He wasn't rushing or playing the run as nearly as tenacious as he typically does. And it looks like we just warmed down. Brunskill was in front of him on all those outside run plays, all those pitch plays, all the reverses and the jet sweeps, and even the short traps and things like that. Like he was staying in front of him. He was pretty much enforcing as well and doing what he wanted with Aaron Donald. And I was looking at this game and I was just thinking, like, we're gonna have to double team him on every play if we're gonna even have a chance to contain this guy. And it didn't play out that way. There was a lot of plays where Daniel Brunskill and Aaron Donald were one-on-one, and he handled them. He won almost every single battle that he went against Aaron Donald. And they started moving him around a little bit. They would put him on DN, they would put him on the other guard, and he wasn't having any success there too. But the plays that he was on over the right guard, which is Daniel Brunskill's position, he got handled. Daniel won the fight in convincing fashion, and for that, he is my overachiever of the week.
I totally agree. It couldn't be more fitting to take someone who they're saying is the greatest player in the NFL off of the stat sheet. He's definitely the Ortiz overachiever.
Overachiever.
All right. Let's talk keys to winning this game coming up. Jimmy Garoppolo gets to see his old teammates in the New England Patriots. And now we have to deal with a mobile quarterback, and hopefully we'll fare better than we have in previous games this year. Cam Newton is sort of unpredictable. He could have a really great game on his feet, or he could start throwing the ball. What do you think, Lucas?
So the Pats are going to come in limping. They had a pretty shitty game against
Denver.
the Broncos. Yeah, so they're not going to feel sorry for us. They have just as many injuries, if not more.
Looks like they're having some communication issues too.
Right. So I just the few games that I have watched from them, it looks like their offensive line is not playing that well. I think they just lost one of their starting offensive linemen. Their tackle, I think, is going to be gone for a while. And Julian Edelman isn't what Julian Edelman normally is. He's having a very subpar season. He just looks like a different guy out there. He's dropping passes. He's not getting open. He's not getting a lot of balls thrown his way. And when they are, most of the time Cam Newton isn't an accurate quarterback. So we need to stop Cam Newton, the runner, more than we need to stop Cam Newton, the passer, this week.
Well, the Niners didn't fare as good as we would have liked against Kyler Murray or Carson Wentz. We got another mobile quarterback coming in Cam Newton, but hopefully Robert Saleh's watching film as we speak. It's going to dial up some great containment. And right now, I just feel like the Niners are definitely playing with that emotion that it takes to get a good, solid win away here in New England.
Absolutely. I think that Saleh's going to dial up some pretty mischievous blitzes or devious blitzes, so to speak, and look to see a lot of run blitzes, because I think the Patriots right now, the best that they can do against us is try to run the football, try to get Cam Newton on some play action passes off the run, and use his legs more so than his arm. Right now, he's not really throwing the ball, like I said, accurately. So look for the Patriots to do some of the same things that we've been doing with Jimmy, is get his confidence up on some short passes, do some trick plays, do some end arounds, reverses, things like that. Screens. I think the Patriots are really going to look to screen us and take advantage of the fact that our defensive linemen really like to get upfield and rush the passer with more of a get up the field mentality as opposed to wait at the line of scrimmage and see what develops. So I think the Patriots game plan against us is definitely going to be more of a pound the rock, use a lot of their little quick short running backs like Burkhead and who's the other guy? White.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the other running back, James White.
Yeah.
Look to use those little guys to run a lot of run plays outside of the box. And Saleh's going to have to dial up some really good defenses to be wary and stop that. Be wary of and stop those plays.
Definitely. And I'm hoping that we stick with that look. I really like that look. The first drive of the game against the Rams, when going down and Deebo Samuel is just, you could just tell he's back. He's got that fire in his eyes. Those little flip passes to him and Ayuk are great. And then we can always take it to Kittle 20 yards down the field. But definitely, I like that look. Keep the defense on their heels, maybe even a little hurry-up offense. I hope we can continue to see more of that. It looked a lot like they did last year, and Deebo is definitely back and seems like 100% right now.
Yeah, we need all the Deebo runs that we can get. I mean, we get plays like the one that ended the game against the Rams where it looked like we needed 7 yards and he got about 12 just on sheer will and power.
Yeah.
And Deebo being Deebo. I mean, wait, I got to bring this up. Can you believe that Aaron Donald actually said after the game when asked, what game plan they had to stop Deebo Samuel, he responded with who? And then the guy repeated the name and he said, who's that? You think he was being a
sore loser?
Sore loser-ish or bitter or
definitely
little gamesmanship, or did he really not know who Deebo Samuel was? Maybe he only knows the number 19.
He knows he just got beat.
Yeah, maybe he only knows the 19 problems. He doesn't know who Deebo Samuels is. But anyways, yeah, we need Deebo to be every bit the beast that he was in the last game, taking short passes and let him get as many yards after the catch as possible. Ayuk the same way. I really liked his little short touchdown catch in the first half and a couple nice end around and short catches that he was able to get some extra yards on. We need some more of that. They even went deep to Ayuk. Remember we mentioned let's have a little more 50-50 deep balls, and they tried it with Ayuk. He almost got the passing interference call, but looked like the referee reached for the flag and kept it in his pocket. Of course, the rookie could have did a little more to sell it, but I want to see a little bit more of that. I want to see them throw the ball deep to Ayuk and Deebo and maybe even Kevin White. We still haven't really seen Kevin White do anything this year.
True.
There's always a possibility that they might start giving him a little more opportunity, especially on some deep passes, and really let him use that size and height.
Well, let's hope we can build on this. And Jimmy G is definitely building on his confidence level. You could see it in that game against the Rams. He was having fun with it. You could see the smile on his face, after
the ankle looked stronger.
Yeah,
the ankle looked stronger too, right? He had a little more confidence. Looked like he was pushing off the back of his foot, put a little more weight on his throws.
Even took one for the team when he had to get us in field goal range there. Lowered his shoulder. Yeah, that's what you want to see as a teammate, right?
Yeah, that's the linebacker in him. Remember, he was a linebacker coming out in high school, and you just saw that mentality. He saw the pass rush kind of coming from his front side, and he took advantage of that little hole that he had. And, that was actually a really important run because it got us in the field goal range, or at least better field goal range, to tack on those 3 points there in the third or fourth quarter. So that was huge, We wound up actually not needing that, but at the time, the Rams were coming, and it was definitely a much-needed tack on 3 points.
All right, Lucas, so it's that time. What's your prediction for this game, the outcome, and the score?
So I think that the 49ers are going to ride all that momentum from this last game and increase our offense even more. I think last week we scored, 24 points. This week we're going to score 35, all touchdowns, no field goals, and the Patriots are going to score 24 points. So final score of 49ers 35, Patriots 24. I think we enforced our will. I think we run the ball 35 plus times again.
Nice.
Jimmy throws for a couple hundred yards, maybe 2 touchdown passes. And look for JaMychal Hasty. He's going to be my pick to have the biggest game next week. I think JaMychal Hasty is going to have a huge 100-yard, maybe 2 or 3 touchdown performance against the Pats.
Can't complain about that.
What about you, buddy? How's it going to go down?
So I have a vision of one thing that's going to happen in this game, and it would be crazy if I'm correct, but I think there's going to be a flea flicker, and this flea flicker is going to end up with Deebo throwing a touchdown strike to Ayuk. I know it sounds kind of far-fetched.
All right.
But, man, I could just see it happening. That's the type of thing. I think you're going to see Kyle Shanahan throw in a trick play or two in this game, especially being away in New England, catch him off guard. I see Deebo throwing a nice little lofty pass to a wide-open Ayuk for like a 30-yard touchdown. Niners win.
Yeah, I like it.
21-14.
I like it. So shades of Emmanuel Sanders throwing to Mostert in New Orleans last year.
Exactly.
The game I was at, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
exactly. I got to see that play. I got to see that play live, and it was every bit as amazing as it looked like on TV. Oh,
what a game!
Just
you
one of those
at
plays,
that game.
One of those play calls where I was at that game.
Holy shit, that's awesome! You just gave me the chills.
To this day, the best game I've ever seen live. And that includes the Alex Smith to Vernon Davis play against the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs back in 2011.
Man, I have to say, I saw most games at Candlestick. I only missed a handful between 1979 and when they left to go to Santa Clara. And I just have to say, rest in peace, Fred Dean. I'll always remember you. And I'll never forget being at the game and listening to the fans chant. You think they're saying defense, but they're actually saying Dean fence. Dean fence. And it was loud at Candlestick. And he would take that momentum and get a sack. And, my dad would go, he's good. And it was just unbelievable being there as a child, watching an incredible player. And we just lost him due to COVID, which is really sad. But rest in peace, Fred Dean. I'll always remember you.
Fred Dean was a great player. Unfortunately, I was a little young when he was on the 49ers, two Super Bowl winning teams for me to see. But as I got older, I started watching some of those old games and hearing players from that era talk about him. Guys like Ronnie Lott, Keena Turner, Joe Montana. Just talk about how important he was to those 1981, 1984 Super Bowl winning teams. It was really cool, and I love the fact that everybody has nothing but kind words to say about him, and words of how important and how great of a linebacker / DN he was on those Super Bowl teams.
Yeah.
So, Fred Dean, we'll miss you.
Teams had to design their game plan around big number 74 coming over around the edge.
One of the original elephant linebacker positions that Charles Haley, of course, took over, and he became the guy that essentially Fred Dean was on those first 2 teams.
Yeah. Well, rest in peace, Fred Dean.
Rest in peace.
All right, Lucas. So have a great rest of your week, and go Niners.
Go Niners.
Have a good one, man.